the devotees of ISKCON. We want devotees to be encouraged, inspired, and empowered to be happy and make progress in Krishna consciousness, and thus be enthused to expand Prabhupada's mission. So I see it as like holistic, like everything affects everything. So, but it's obviously, it's not a common term, so it could be misunderstood for sure. Yeah. So that I thought devotee self, we have devotee care and devotee self-care. Maybe that's better. Maybe it makes more sense. We have devotee care, and I'm a devotee, and if I don't care for myself, then what? Who's going to care for me if I don't care? You know how sometimes Prabhupada says, if you don't follow my instruction, I can't help you. Like, what can I do for you if you don't follow? And a lot of times, when a devotee asks for blessings, it's because they're not following. They want something like special mercy. They like push them. Isn't it? Like, give me your mercy. Like, if I get your mercy, then I'll do everything. I don't have to make any effort. So I always tell devotees, you should be merciful to yourself. And how are you merciful to yourself? You take the mercy that you're given and you use it, right? If I serve you prasadam, you do have to put it in your mouth and chew it and swallow it, right? Wow. Kind of seems like Govardhan Puja to me. The rain is going to stop at 7:59. Don't worry. I'm working on it right now. So thank you for that question. This is a beautiful idea. My guru is caring for me. My guru is trying to help me. But if I don't have self-care, I can't take his help, right? Because he's giving me something, but I have to take it and I have to utilize it. Correct? Yes? So without self-care, I can't take advantage. Without self-care, I can't take advantage of what my guru is giving me. And there are many occasions, Prabhupada would say, if someone wasn't following, Prabhupada would say, what can I do? I want to say one thing about Japa, and then I want to see if you have any questions. My question to you is it a long road to Krishna consciousness? From Shraddha to Prema, is it a long road? Many devotees have been on this road for 50 years, and they're still not at Ruchi. 50 years, that's a long way, right? Okay, it's a long way, and life is not that long. Can you hear me? A little bit? Can you hear me? Life is too short to chant bad japa. Can you afford to chant bad japa? Do we chant bad japa? What's wrong with us? It's such a long journey. You can't afford to chant bad japa. If you cared more about yourself, would you care more about your japa? Yes? Of course. I need every mantra. I'm not that Krishna conscious. I need every mantra. I need every round, isn't it? If I don't chant well, how will I become Krishna conscious? Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtan. It's the holy name can do it. I don't take it properly. And then I say, I'm lazy, I got a crazy mind, I can't control it, and 108 other excuses. All right. Here's my new title of my new book, 108 Reasons Why I'm Not Going Back to Godhead in This Life. Or maybe that'll be your book. Maybe you could write it for me. And you each can write it, and we'll get 108 different reasons from each of you, right? Have any of you written that book? 108 reasons why I can't chant good japa. 108 reasons why I can't control myself. And even if you have those reasons, if you have self-care, you won't give in to those reasons, even if they're there. Does that make sense? Like, I care too much about myself to give in to my weakness. Yes? I mean, that's how we should think. And if we think that way, we're satisfying Prabhupada because he wants us to go back to Godhead in this life. And if I'm going to go back to Godhead in this lifetime, I better care about going back to Godhead in this lifetime because that's what Prabhupada wants. And if that's what if Prabhupada cares enough that I go back to Godhead, shouldn't I care? Even if I don't, that's the thing. Even if I don't care, I should care because he cares. And this is what he wants. And sometimes we're so weak, lazy, and stupid, we can only be motivated because he cares. All right, I'll do it for him. I don't care. All right, that's better than nothing. But if we actually care, genuinely, that's going to make a huge difference. And then you'll find japa is not that difficult. Getting up is not that difficult. Doing austerity is not that difficult because it's good for us. Does that make sense? Yeah. How do we miss this? ISKCON is like, how old is ISKCON now? Like 57 years, and like we missed this. Like nobody talks about it. Isn't that interesting? Yes? I find it interesting. I'm not bragging or anything. I'm just like, why? I mean, everyone should be talking about it. And so I added that into my japa workshops because I think it's so important. And forgiveness workshop, you know. If you care about yourself, why would you hold on to resentment? Because resentment is just poison. It just kills you, right? Prabhu, how do I give up resentment? Well, what's it doing for you? Don't you care that you're destroying yourself? Maybe if you had more self-care, you'd just go, it's not worth it. Yes? Has someone ever said something to you that made you feel bad for a long time? If you have a little more self-care, what do? You go, this is not good, let it go. What did Suniti tell Dhruva? Dhruva was so angry, she said, you're just killing yourself with your anger. Your anger is harming you. Have you ever been angry? Have you ever had any emotion directed towards another person that was harming you more than it was harming them? A self-caring person will not do that. A person who doesn't care enough about themselves will allow themselves to suffer just to get back at somebody else. I just heard this really interesting talk by a devotee. You'll like this. She does an exercise. She asks people, pretend you're 3 years old. Don't pretend you're 3 years old. Go back to when you're 3 or 4 or 5. And think about God. And how do you see God as a little kid? And she said you get all these strange reactions of people. Like, I hate God. God is scary. I fear Him. To help people realize that we have programmed, a lot of us have programmed very awkward and unhealthy conceptions of God, which are now affecting us today. And then we say something like, I don't think Krishna likes me. I don't think Krishna loves me. Where did that come from? What verse? Prabhu, show me the verse. Krishna doesn't like you. I missed that verse. Oh, that's in the 19th chapter of the Gita, right? Must be, because I didn't see it in the first 18. 19th chapter is your Gita, where all those weird verses come up that Krishna never spoke, like, he doesn't love me, right? So now we're living with this conception that we've, got when we were little kids about God or whatever, or your big brother told you you were stupid and useless or whatever. And now we're adults and we still carry them. If you have self-care and self-love, would you carry them? I love myself too much to allow myself to carry those ideas within me. I will let them go. That's what self-love can do. It can transform that because it's harmful. And I don't want to harm myself. So it got programmed in there, whatever. Could have been another lifetime, who knows? I feel guilty. I feel I'm failing my Guru Maharaj. I feel bad. I shame myself. Is that healthy? Is that what a self-loving person does? Shame themselves? No. They don't do that. Why would you do that? Isn't that an interesting question? Like, what do you gain by doing that? Like, what is the value of doing that? Why do we do that? Something has been programmed in there, and we feel like, Krishna, why would he love me? Right? Where did that come from? What verse is that? Krishna doesn't love me. What verse? Show me the verse. I dare you. Krishna doesn't love me. Show me the verse. There isn't one. Now, this is where it gets interesting. We were talking about this last week, and this is really heavy. Check this out. How dare you project your dysfunction on Krishna? I don't like myself. Krishna loves me, but I think he doesn't like me because I don't like me. So I project that idea on Krishna. And I make an offense to Krishna by saying, he doesn't love me because of A, B, and C. When he never said that, I just feel that way about me. And I think, well, if I feel that way about me, he must feel that way about me. Now you're putting words in his mouth that he never said. And very negative words. Have you ever told somebody, I think you feel this way about me, and they don't? How do they feel? Whoa. Right? Isn't that interesting? Right? Krishna is saying, my dear Arjuna, because you're very dear to me, I'm speaking Bhagavad Gita. Who is Arjuna? We're all Arjuna. Because you're very dear to me, I'm speaking Bhagavad Gita. I love you. No, you don't. How could you love me? I'm so bad. My mother hated me. So our own personal issues are projected on God, and then we give God a bad name, right? Or our own bad japa. I don't like Krishna. I like Krishna in the form of prasadam, but not in the form of japa. Well, whose fault is that? It's the same Krishna. I like him in kirtan. I don't like him in the deity. I like whatever it is. So be careful that your own personal problems are not projected onto Krishna and make assumptions about Krishna, believing, feeling, saying things he doesn't believe, say, or feel. That's really bad, don't you think? And where's that coming from? It's not coming from him. It's coming from us. That 3-year-old kid who was scared of God in church or whatever. I mean, there's a pretty scary stuff going on in religion, don't you think? Or your parents are God. However your parents treat you, that's your concept of God. So if your parents are heavy, strict, punishing, you think God's exactly the same. You just like, or your parents didn't care. They were always out working. They never were home when you needed them. God doesn't care. He doesn't need me in the spiritual world. He's got Radharani, the gopis, the gopas, I'm just a jerk. You know, why would he want to be with me? Where did that come from? Maybe it came from parents who were just like, who cares about you? Could be, right? Isn't that interesting? It's not only interesting, it's pretty scary. You know, and so I think we need to be, just need to be careful that Krishna is showing his love and we're saying, yeah, but I don't deserve it. And if you say, and you think I don't deserve it, then what do? You don't accept it, right? And if you don't accept Krishna's love, why would you want to love him? Why would you want to love someone who doesn't love you? Now you just trapped yourself. I'm like, I can never get love of Krishna because inside somewhere I'm blocking myself, because how can you really give love to someone who doesn't love you? Why would you? Oh, you can do it out of duty. I should love Krishna. I'm eternal servant, all that. But it's not going to work in the long run. It's going to be, or at least it'll be difficult, right? So, if Krishna loves me, then what do? Naturally, I want to give back, right? Isn't it? If he doesn't love me, like, well, you know, Prabhu, you're chanting around, well, what's the point? He doesn't love me. Have you ever met a devotee like that? Their sadhana goes, why? Because he doesn't care. And then they think their guru doesn't care, Krishna doesn't care, nobody cares. Does that make sense? Isn't that interesting? You find that interesting? I find it fascinating. Let's twist it around. Krishna loves you. Block out all the reasons he wouldn't love you, because there aren't any other than your own thinking. Why wouldn't Krishna love you? Give me one reason. You have 108 reasons, but none of them are his. So just forget it. He loves you, and accept it. If you fully accept his love, you're going to feel guilty. Why? Because you're not loving him back. And you're going to want to try to love him back, right? And every time you have to do something that you don't want to do, you'll think, this is good. It's an opportunity to love him back. If you ever confront an austerity you don't want to do, it's like, We are so deficient in our payment of love back to Krishna. Wouldn't you just grab any opportunity to show Krishna your love? Yeah, I'll get up early. I'll do this. I'll chant my rounds. I'll try to control myself. I'll be nice to devotees. I won't make offenses. I'll do this difficult preaching, whatever. I'll come out here late at night, risking my life. Yeah. Why? Because it's a chance to pay back the love that Krishna's giving me. So what happens if you think he doesn't love you? You go into whatever mode. Like, what does it matter if I go back to Godhead or not? He doesn't care. And then, by association, my guru doesn't care. Right? Anybody feel like that? If you do, come up here and I'll beat you up. I'll beat it out of you. It's really bad. When you feel Krishna's love, then you want to reciprocate with it. You want to give it back. You don't want to make excuses. Well, but, I could. Right? Does that make sense to you? So, there's no evidence in Shastra, unless you're like Hiranyakashipu or Ravana, that Krishna's not going to like you. The Prabhupada said, you're devotees. How could you even think, Krishna loves everybody, and you're devotees. Then to think you're a devotee, he doesn't love you? Like, that's weird, isn't it? Prabhupada said, Krishna loves you. You don't have to love him, he still loves you. And you think, yeah, he loves her and her and her, but not me. You ever think like that? Krishna loves all living entities except one, me. Krishna, Mahaprabhu gave Jagai and Madhai mercy, so raise your hand if you're lower than Jagai and Madhai. Hyper humility, and you're not, don't worry. You can't compete with them. You cannot compete with their sins. They're way ahead of you. They've done many more things than you have. So he shows if he shows mercy, if he can love Jagai and Madhai, he can love us. What do you think? Even if your mother didn't love you, or they abandoned you, or whatever, or your big brother picked on you, or your teacher told you were stupid, it's like whatever. If he can love Jagai and Madhai, you qualify for his love. And now, all you have to do the rest of your life is catch up, because we're in deficit, aren't we? He's given us so much love. How much have you given back? Like, not a whole lot. I need to give a lot back, right? So tomorrow morning, during Japa, you have this wonderful opportunity to give Krishna your love back through your Japa. And you can even pray to Krishna to help me love you. Because I'm like really indebted to you, and I want to catch up with the love, and that makes a relationship. And when that love comes to a certain point, Krishna says, okay, you're in. We got a place for you. Let's go. Back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. Sound good? Yeah? You want to sign up when you go out for going back to Godhead? Yeah. So, any questions, realizations? Confusion? Yes.
I was just thinking about sincerity. That sometimes, like, even my sincerity doesn't feel enough.
Sincere?
Sincere enough. For example, when I offer Boba to Krishna, I'm like, am I really sincere? Like, is it really accepting?
Mm-hmm. So, there's two things you can say. First thing is sincerity is the desire to please Krishna. Sincerity is the desire not to be the enjoyer, not to be the center, but to let Krishna be the center. So the idea of offering is, he gets it first. You give it first to the one you love, right? So now maybe you say, I'm not sincere, but you were sincere enough at least to offer it, to not eat it first. So give yourself a little pat on the back. At least I didn't eat it first. And I tried to offer it, right? And I tried to be sincere. I can be more sincere, I can improve. That's for sure. But I think what's really sad, really bad and sad is you're maybe not doing as well as you like, but in that moment it's probably the best you could do. And then you're upset with yourself for doing the best you can do. I don't think we want to train people. I don't think we want to invite people into this movement so that they feel bad about trying their best. That would be one of the greatest, I think, disservices we could have. And I used to joke, and some people took offense at this, because they didn't understand it. I guess they weren't Americans or something. Or I said, if that's the way the Hare Krishna movement is going to go, then next to every temple you need a mental hospital, because you're going to make people feel guilty, right? You're going to try your best, and everyone's going to feel like it's not good enough. Imagine you had a kid and they tried their best, and you go, well, tough luck, kid, it's not good enough. That kid would grow up in a very unhealthy way, don't you think? So we do that to ourselves. I try my best, but I'm really not sincere, and this and that and the next thing. But I don't think we should be that hard on ourselves. Maybe I'm not as sincere as I could be, but at least I made the offering. At least I'm trying. I can try more, for sure. So, it's like you can flip it around, see it from the positive or the negative. And so you want to see it from the positive because there is positivity there, and the negative is just the gap. I can go more. Of course I could do better. Can you do better rounds than you did today? Of course you can. But that's not a cause of being depressed, right? I hope not. Part of that is we get confused about being humble, because we think maybe that's being humble, like being negative like that, and I'm not very good. And it is a kind of humility, but you don't want humility that doesn't help you. That's the point. So sometimes we have humility, but it's not helping. No es bueno. Humildad humildad no es bueno. Es falso humildad. You understand what I said? Fake humility. She didn't understand. I don't know if the Spanish people understood. I thought that was Spanish. Yes? Is okay? Yeah. Sometimes the humility is false. And that false humility does not inspire us. It makes us feel bad. So anything you do that's pushing you away from enthusiasm and from Krishna, how could that be good? I'm so bad, I'm so fallen, I'm so this and that. Why even get out of bed tomorrow? What's the point? Well, that humility certainly didn't help you. It backfired because it wasn't real humility, right? It was some kind of internal defect that's masquerading as in the name of humility. Does that make sense? Because if it's real humility, it's going to inspire you. It's going, my little joke here, but it's true. You know the humble devotee that's like really humble? He's so humble, he's like crunched over all the time. That one. And you see that devotee, and then, then you see him later, and he's like criticizing everyone in the temple. You know that devotee? The humble one, the humble criticizer. So we think that kind of humility is going to help and it's good, or the humble devotee who's like so humble, you can't believe how humble he is, but it's all low self-esteem. There's no humility. It's all. Because you know what low self-esteem is? It's so interesting. Borijam, I didn't realize this. Borijam Prabhu, I was talking to him. I said, well, low self-esteem, humility, how do you see the difference? He said, yeah, in real humility, Krishna's the center, and in low self-esteem, you're the center. I'm so bad, nobody likes me, why doesn't anybody praise me? Isn't it? That's not humility, because humility is, oh, Krishna, I need you. And low self-esteem, I'm so bad, and then you criticize everybody. Low self-esteem will cause you to criticize, because you're so insecure, it's hard to be around people that are smarter than you. You have to criticize them. And you're going to call that humility? I'm so bad, I'm so low. So, you get some kind of psychological dysfunction in the name of humility. If it doesn't help you, how can it be humility? It doesn't bring you closer to Krishna, right? So, whatever problem you have, if you add self-care, more self-care, it becomes much easier to solve it. I can't say it's going to solve everything overnight, but it's hard to treat yourself and allow yourself to be treated by others in a way that doesn't help you. If you're caring for yourself, you will not allow people to treat you in a way that's going to hurt your bhakti, right? Or hurt you anyway, right? And certainly you won't allow yourself to do that to yourself. So, this idea, it's so interesting. We abuse ourselves. What an interesting idea. We abuse ourselves. I'm the most fallen, I'm the worst, rotten, lower than a worm and still this. It's self-abuse. It's not transcendental. Unless you're, transcendental, then it's transcendental. Until you're transcendental, it's self-abuse in the name of being spiritual, and it's not helping you. It's hurting you. Isn't it? Yes?
So how do you correct that self-abuse or
Yeah.
false? You already said false humility be correct false humility in Krishna's.
Yeah.
So how can I correct myself?
The realization I had, I was talking about it before, the realization I had was this problem we can have with just accepting ourselves, like being okay with what we're not okay. I'm not okay now with myself being here because I want to be here, but being okay with being here by understanding this is like due to my past activities, my past karma, everything, I'm here. It doesn't matter if I'm here or here or here because I can get here. But when I'm here and I can't accept that I'm here, I don't like myself, I put myself down, then everything's going down, the energy's going down. It's not pushing me up, it's going down. And I think I think all of us as devotees, if we're not careful, we'll always have this tension that I'm not a pure devotee, right? Isn't it? You know that tension, I'm not pure enough. So we're always uncomfortable with who we are. We don't like ourselves because we're not pure enough. Like if I said, Prabhu, I have a magic wand, just tell me what you want, I'll come and knock you in the head. You'd be like, oh my God, this is my chance to be the person I want to be because I don't really like everything about me, right? You'd be lining up, like running in line. This is who I want to be, right? So there's that tension between who we are and who we want to be that can create a problem, and then it becomes hard to accept ourselves. Even though Prabhupada accepted ourselves. So the way I have understood this personally is that there's things about myself I like, there's things about myself I don't like, but it just is. It's just the way it is, right? One day Rabindra Swarup Prabhu gave class in Mayapur. It was, 3-4 years ago. The class was just like off the charts, intellectually stimulating, amazing, fantastic, like I could never give a class like that. And I was sitting there, I was going, I wish I had that intelligence, And you can read a lot of books and, but some people just have more intelligence, right? It's just the way it is. And I'll tell you, this was really interesting. We did a workshop, and we all sat in a circle, and we put our name on a paper, and you pass the paper around, and everybody writes a quality that they admire in you. So you write a quality you admire in everyone, and everyone writes a quality they admire in you. You understand? Because the paper is going around. So Hari Bhakti, you write your name on the paper, then it goes. He writes a quality, well, it goes around. And everyone else's paper goes around. So when it gets back to us, we have these qualities, right? And I can guarantee you, when you read that paper, you'll be like, oh my God, I don't realize I have these qualities. People see this in me. And the quality that I'm thinking, God, I wish I was intelligent like Rabindra Swarup. I wish I was intelligent like Vrindavan. I just feel like an idiot like that. Guess what came up? There was like 20 people there. Guess what came up 19 times? You're very intelligent. Isn't that interesting? And I was lamenting that I'm not intelligent, and people think I'm intelligent. So it's like, how weird is that? So not only can we not accept ourselves, but maybe we can't accept ourselves because we think we don't have something that we do have. So it's like double bad. Right? So, Maharaj, I think it's combining like accepting myself in a way that's going to push me. So it's not like an excuse, so this is just how I am, but it's just acknowledging this is how I am. It becomes a positive because there's nothing negative around that. It's just, this is how I am. I mean, today, I got, this is my IQ today, and it's probably going to be my IQ, 10 years from now. Yes?
Is it a humility also to accept where I am, but then I should still push myself to where I want it to be?
Yeah. Because, I don't know who it was, I think it may have been Borijan Prabhu. He gave a definition of humility as, humility is reality. It's just like, you think you're up here, but no, you're not. So yeah, I would say it's humility because you just accept I'm here. But it doesn't mean you're going to stay here your whole life. It just means this is where we are now, and we have to go to Delhi, and it's like whatever, 80 miles or whatever. But it just is. It's not a problem. It's just, it's further than going to the next village, but you just accept it. And once you accept it, it relieves lots of anxiety. And also, the other thing, okay, you got me going here. If we don't accept it, it's really hard to be humble because we'll always be showing people we're somebody we're not, right? I can't accept I'm not intelligent, so every morning I go to the dictionary and learn 10 big words that I will use today to impress everybody. Or So it's always like we have to act and pretend to be better than we are, which is like completely has nothing to do with pure bhakti. And how can you have good relationships if you're trying to pretend to be somebody you're not? And so, then it gets worse. Then you pretend to yourself you're that person. That's when it gets really weird. You know, you're like, you're not honest with yourself, and you know. So to pretend to be someone you're not is very painful, and you're always on guard because people might see what you're like, and you want to make sure they don't see what you're like, right? Because if they find out, then you know, you're finished. You know. Yes? Does that make sense? Yeah. Yes, please.
Please, I want to thank you for your eloquent speech. And secondly, I see educators, teachers, they find it so fascinating when they get questions from their audience. So my question here, we have covered so many aspects of your topic. So what is actually three things you want us to take out of this class today in regards to the theme of the topic, as you said, that said means three things, body, mind, and soul.
Yes. I think when I think about self-care, because I teach Japa, I always think of the connection. So the most fundamental thing to take from this is that self-care can improve everything. Anything you want to improve in your life, it will improve with self-care. And so rather than saying, I can't do something or something is difficult, just say, I don't care enough about myself to improve. That's like the fundamental bottom line of self-care. I don't care enough about myself, so I don't care enough about my japa. Don't say I don't care about my japa. Say I don't care about myself enough to improve my japa. Or if you have a bad relationship, don't say I'm not good in relationships. I don't care about relationships. No, but you're being hurt by them. Say I don't care enough about myself to care about the relationships. I don't care enough about myself to care about blank. That's essentially important. I would like devotees to stop abusing themselves in the name of humility. I think that's sad. I would like devotees to stop projecting their own personal unworthiness on Krishna. I think that's horrible. And take home the concept that anything that helps you in bhakti is self-caring, and anything that doesn't, isn't. And we should be, the question you can ask yourself any time of the day or night, you can ask yourself, is what I'm doing now self-caring? Like I'm making a decision to go somewhere, to do something, to eat something, to see someone. Is it self-caring or not? If I have self-care, will I do this? When you start thinking in those terms, it's like it changes things. Because you already know the answer, don't you? You ever done something and you knew it was wrong? It wasn't self-caring, you did it anyway. Like you knew, right? You knew it was wrong. Yes? So, with a little more internal dialogue, we can just ask ourselves, if I care for myself, will I do this? Or won't I do this? At the end of the workshop, we can do an exercise, and it will answer your question. We could do it tomorrow. If I had more self-care, what in my life would improve? And you'd be amazed, like how many things will improve. I mean, you can think about it tonight. Do you know self-care can cure addictions? Because addiction is like a lack of self-care to an extreme. Because you're killing yourself, you're abusing yourself, you're doing something that you've given up everything in your life to do something that's harming you. That's like the absolute low of self-love, and self-love can cure that addiction. If self-love can cure an addiction, it can empower us to do so many things. Does that make sense?
I was just wondering the response you are giving, which is very beautiful, but I don't know how it connects with the three things you mentioned, that self means the body.
Everything, anything in your life. Body, mind, emotions, social, relationships. If you,
I just want to know.
yeah.
So if it needs that, so how do we draw? What is the demarcation? How do we draw the line? Extreme and moderate. How do we put the balance? Because I'm aware that virtue lies in the middle. Virtue is not at the extreme this way. It's not at the extreme the other way. It's at the middle. So how do we balance the middle? If it concerns the three aspects that makes the whole.
Well, it depends. Sometimes the middle is also bad. You want to give an example of what an extreme on two sides, a particular thing?
If you mind.
An example, like, of what?
Yeah, if you mind. We can say somebody like this Terastra.
Mm-hmm.
We can say somebody like Buddha.
And what about them? I don't understand that.
You're talking about extreme, right?
Yeah. Okay. They're extremely bad. All right. And you're
Extreme in terms of attitude, in terms of going beyond the what they call the boundaries of morality.
Yeah.
Going
Mhm.
beyond the boundaries of what holds the human values.
Okay. And your question, I didn't understand.
You asked for extreme, so I cite example of what's extreme. I understand.
And
So I was trying to get the point from you. Since you mentioned that the self you talk about, it concerns three things, and you have given beautiful response. I was wondering how the response you have given connects with these three things. So that was
how it connects with Duryodhana's?
how it connects with the three things that you mentioned. And if it connects, so how do we balance, what is the middle ground? For instance, if I'm nurturing the body, will it give me the intention that I'm going beyond what I supposed
Yeah.
to
Oh,
be to the
it's
body?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's the point I'm trying
Well,
to
it's easy. I would just say there's a point where taking care of one of those three is not producing any. It's like you hit the point where it's good for you, and then beyond that, it's unnecessary. It's like money or like eating. I eat a certain amount, that's good. I eat more, it's unnecessary. So it's kind of like you have to judge for yourself, because it's going to be different for you than it's going to be for me. I may need to eat more than you. So what's middle for me is extreme for you. So the point is, what's that point that this helps? All right, well, I need to take a walk every day just to be energized. All right, and you may say, I got to go to the gym. Walk is like for kids or old guys. So, well, how long are you going to go to the gym? And you go, I can do it in an hour. It's like, okay, so for you, an hour is necessary, and it helps you. And you do that, and you say, my rounds are better, my mind's clear, I'm doing more service. So you're evaluating it, because it's all connected. You can't avoid it, If you have bad relationships, it negatively impacts you, right? So you don't have to have amazing relationships, but you don't want to have bad relationships, because they harm you and they disturb you. If you have financial problems, then it causes stress, and it can occupy your sadhana, because you're so stressed by it. You don't need a lot of money, you need enough so there's no more stress. If you just, if you work to make too much money, that's an extreme that's going to cause you problems, because you're putting in more energy. So it's different for everybody, and you have to kind of feel out what do you think you need, Like you're a brahmachari, maybe that's all you need. Someone needs to be married. All right, so they can do that, right? But for you, that would be too much. For them, brahmacharya is too little. So you have to be the judge, and it takes some honesty, right? Self-evaluation, honesty. Otherwise, you can rationalize it and say, I need this when you don't. Or the opposite, I don't need it when I do. That would be like false humility, or we're trying to prove ourselves. I don't need this. Well, actually, you do need it. You can see you're not doing well without it. Or, I need this. No, you don't. It's not helping you. So that you have to see yourself. It's, if you have a skill, a talent, a nature, often we find a devotee has a nature and they don't engage it in service. That nature, it's there. They're suppressing it. It's always there, and it's not healthy. It needs to be engaged if it can be. And so, but maybe you have a nature, but you don't want to engage it, or you really don't need to engage it. You can engage another nature. You have to decide. I like to teach. I like to do music. That nature is deeply ingrained in me. If I don't do that, I'm not that inspired. And I sometimes think I need to give a course for me to inspire me. My Japa's not good. I want to do a Japa workshop. It'll help me. You know what preaching's like, how much it helps us, right? So it's my nature. I like to do it, and I need to do it. And so, okay, let's at least do it enough. So that's a decision you have to make.
I want to thank you at the same time. If you say it's up to me, so I wonder why do we need a doctor? Because you are supposed to be a doctor. You want to fix us. You want to tell us, the middle ground, the balancing point.
The doctor's going to tell us? Is it?
I said you're supposed to be a doctor.
Oh, to tell you? To tell you? No, you need to find out. If you depend too much on the doctor, then that's not good. Because the doctor doesn't, stay with you all the time. You have a doctor, Chaitya Guru. He's in your heart. I mean, sometimes you need a guru. Yeah, sometimes you need a guru to tell you. But you have Chaitya Guru also. Right? And it's once you think in terms of self-care, it starts to become very clear. Oh, I should be doing this and I neglected it. I shouldn't be doing this. It's not helping me. I just do it because I like it, but it's not really helping me. In that context, go back to Godhead this lifetime. It makes it easy. Like, well, what should I do? Yeah, there's many things I like to do, but they're not really going to help me go back to Godhead. I just like to do it, but it's like, so many things I like to eat. It's not good for me. I don't eat it. So we're always having to make choices. And Prabhupada just wanted us to make the right choices so we can go back to Godhead. Isn't it? I promised you it was going to stop raining at 7:59. We have 2 minutes. Yes? Did you learn anything new?
Yeah, I did.
See? I told you.
I realized, workshops, just get more realization. In this too long to do, but I'm excited for tomorrow. Anyways, I realized I had a self-defeating belief in the past that I'm useless. And so one of my Japa meditations after being in the self-care is actually I'm useful when I'm connected to Krishna. I'm useless when I'm disconnected.
Yeah, perfect. Now you can decide if you want to be useful or useless now, right? What do you want? Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtan. If Jai and Vijay can do it, I can do it. It has nothing to do with me. It's the Shakti. You know, as a Prabhupada disciple, what I try to do is just like give what I learned from Prabhupada. And I find the more I just give it and get out of the way, the more people think, oh, you're amazing. I'm like, I don't know if I'm that amazing, but Prabhupada's amazing. And if I can give Prabhupada, then maybe you think I'm amazing. You know, I'm reflecting the sunlight so I look bright. That's all. So we can do amazing things and be amazing. You just reflect the light. Perfect, thank you. That's a great way to end. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we were just getting warmed up. We have 3 hours tomorrow. We're getting warmed up now. We can do some exercises tomorrow, and then you can see how this relates to you practically. Dream about this, think about it, and happy Japa tomorrow. And turn to the person next to you before you go and tell them, Krishna loves you. And he wants you to love yourself. Thank you very much. So, as promised, the rain has stopped, so, but you can still buy more books if you want, and take a chance. And we'll see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna. I didn't realize I had so much Shakti, did you?